In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the box project CAD. And there's a bottom part of the box, and then there's also a lid, and we want that to fit really tightly together. And so the easiest way is to actually relate those two things to each other. And then the other thing I'm going to show you is how we can make it as one piece, and that's how we're actually going to mill it out. And so the first thing I'm going to do is create my stock. And so if this is your first time using OnShape, or if you want to use something that is not OnShape, feel free to use some tutorials. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. And all of the basics here are exactly the same as what we've used before in class. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define the stock, and I'm going to define where, like, the size, the width, and the length. Right there, 2.5 by 2.5. And then I will extrude it to my full depth, and so that's going to be 3 inches. And so all I've done here is create a stock that is the exact same size that we will end up using as our material. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to do so on this top plane right here. And what I'm going to do is look at this and create an offset. And what I want to do is, so it gives me a direction, it's going in. I can click right there to make it correct. And I want to have 0.05 inches around this whole thing. So we want to have it so that the mills out a little bit of material around our entire part. And so what I'm going to do is finish that sketch, and I'll look at it again at an angle, and I'm going to extrude it, and I'm just going to extrude this tiny little bit right here, and I'm going to remove that material, and I'm going to remove it for my full depth. And I like to start with the knowing what my lid is going to be, because that kind of informs what the base is also going to be. It doesn't matter which one you do as long as you kind of plan ahead. So I'm going to make a lid that's a little on the tall side. It can be anywhere between 1/2 inch and a full inch. And so I'm going to make mine, or about 3/4 inch, somewhere between 1/2 and 3/4 inch for the total height of the lid. And so I'm going to click on that, and there we go. The other thing I'm going to do is measure. I'm going to figure out how much space I have left. And so I have 2¼ inches left. I need at least 1/2 inch for a clamping boss. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch on this bottom right here, and I'm going to not create an offset, even though I could. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to spin this around, and I'm going to use this tool called Use. And in Inventor they call it Project Geometry, but it's pretty much the same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to take these edges that exist on one sketch or on this part, and we're going to put them directly onto another sketch. So we've got that on there. I don't have to add any dimensions. You'll notice that it's fully constrained because it's based completely off of that other sketch. And so there we go. I'm going to then extrude just this little bit. I'm going to remove, and I figured out that I had 1.75 of material for this bottom that I could have. And so I'm going to remove it there. And as you can see, this is kind of our base that we can work off of, which is a we have a lid that's 0.75 tall, and then we have a base that's 1.75 tall, and then we have a clamping boss that's 1/2 inch. The important part is that this clamping boss is 1/2 inch. It can be bigger, but it can't be any smaller. And then, so my lid could be slightly smaller if I wanted to have a slightly bigger base as well, but I suggest not going anywhere below 1/2 inch for your lid. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sketch on this lid part right here, and I'm actually going to hide some of my extra planes. Don't need those right now. And I'm going to take a look at this. And right now what I want to do is I just want to add in and kind of make this a little more unique. And so things I can do is I can add my some fillets. And so if I wanted to, I could make a fillet maybe 0.5. Don't make it too small. Or if I really wanted to, I could actually do some chamfers as well. And any exterior corner, like here, and if I'm looking around, I can also look at this one as well. It's okay to have exterior corners that have sharp edges. Those are all good. The mill can actually do that. But inside corners, we're not going to be able to actually do that. So I'm going to create that and hit OK. And you'll notice I'm working on the bottom first. It just tends to work a little bit better because we can get the inside walls and everything. And then it just allows, once I've got an inside curve that I know is good and correct, the lid is a little bit easier. And so I've got that. I'm going to make a new sketch right here, and the simplest box you can really make is, make the outside kind of this unique shape, whatever you want it to be, and then again just offsetting. And so I'm going to offset it in, and we need to have at least, I did that wrong, so I'm going to offset it, this, and I'm going to make that 0.2. So our walls need to be at least 0.2 in thickness. So that's going to define the thickness of my walls. And then I also need to have, and you can do this with a sketch or a feature, but my all of my inside corners need to have a fillet that is no smaller than 3/16 of an inch. And so I've created those fillets on these sides. These are already big enough, and so I don't need to do that, but I could for those sides as well. And then created my fillets and all of that. And going back to that sketch, I can also click on this and go 3/16, and there we go. We're all good. Making sure, I think I missed these fillets just with the size of everything. And so 3/16. And so now we can see that all of our arcs are at least 3/16. We have a wall thickness of 0.2. And so I'm actually ready to extrude this. And so I'm just going to extrude that cavity. So I'm going to remove. And a quick and easy way to do that is I'm not going to go blind. I'm going to go to face. And I'm going to click on this face right here that kind of defines the bottom of this. But I'm going to do an offset distance, and that's going to be 0.3. We need at least 0.3 on the bottom and on the top. And that allows that floor thickness to be thick enough that it doesn't break when we're milling. And so we've got 0.3. If I want to, I can change my view, go shaded with hidden edges. I'm changing my view just a little bit, and I can see that, well, look at that, there's a little gap there, and that's the bottom of the inside. That cavity is offset enough with my clamping boss. So we're actually going to cut right at that transition right there. And so that part is good. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create another sketch here on the top. And, oops, not extrude, but a sketch. Then I'm going to offset, and I want to offset all of these faces right here, and so I'm going to make sure I select all of these things right here and all the way around, and I'm going to offset it by 0.1. That's going to be my distance there, and that's kind of the lip that I'm going to do. So I can click here, and 0.1 kind of splits the difference right there. That's all good. I'm going to hit OK, and I have this little lip going on right here. And so I can extrude, and I'm just going to extrude this little bit right here. I'm going to cut it, I'm going to remove it, and it's going to cut out just 0.1. And so we kind of have a square cut out of 0.1 by 0.1 right here. And so we have this little lip going on. Okay, and so that right there in the basics is all we need to do for the bottom of this box. What you're going to notice is that there is kind of a unique outside profile. You should have that as well. But then what we need is to have all these exterior corners that are going to mate with the top also be rounded, because our mill can only do inside corners that have a round to them. I'll fill it. The next step is to flip this around, and I'm going to create a sketch right here. And on this sketch, I'm going to first work from the outside in, and so I'm going to use my Use tool again, and I'm going to click on this shape right here and see if I can't get I guess I didn't get all of those sides, so I'm going to try this. Maybe I can select this face right here, and what I'm looking for is this outer profile so that the top and the bottom both match. Okay, there we go, I got that. From there I can extrude, and so I'm going to cut out this and this and this and this. In this case I'm going to remove, I'm going to go to face, and I'm going to select right here. So I want all of that stuff to cut out right there. Okay. The next thing I need to do is I'm going to make another sketch right here on the top. And what I want to do is extrude and figure out the distance. So I'm going to use my Use again. And I need to figure out this shape right here. And I need this, all of this kind of inside shape right here, where there's going to be an interaction between the top lid and here. So I've got that on my part, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset that. I need it to be just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click, and I can always already tell you that it's going to be right now it's kind of on the wrong direction, but that's okay. I will get it to be the right direction. So I'm going to click on this arrow, it flips out, and in this case I really only want it to be 0.005. And what that's going to allow me to do is have it be large enough and big enough that the two parts won't interact and won't collide, but have it be small enough that there's still a tight fit. So you can see there's a little gap here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to extrude, and it's going to be this face, and then don't forget to get that little thin ring around it as well. I'm going to go again, I'm going to remove, I'm going to go to a face, and that's going to be this bottom, but then I'm also going to as well put that offset distance right there. The other option for you, if you want to have a little thicker of a lid, the other thing you can do is you can make sure that when you extrude, instead of going two face, you can have a blind one, and just make sure it's more than 0.15, and that just allows our distance right here. The two parts won't interact with each other, the 0.1 lip and this 0.1 hole right here. So I'm going to hit OK. And so here you can see that we have not only the same profile all the way around, we also have a little lip right here that's going to interact with our lid, and then that lid itself is just slightly bigger than the part it's going to mate with.